Co-Mo Electric is a co-op that was founded in 1939, so coincidentally this is our 75th anniversary. And an interesting story is 72 years to the day on Christmas Eve of 2011, we lit the first fiber optics customer on our network, which is the same day that we lit the first house on our electric co-op. We have about 4,000 miles of electric distribution plant, serving 32,000 meters in central Missouri, over 2,300 square miles. Our service territory is largely underserved, and a term I've recently coined poorly served, with aging copper infrastructure that is at its end of life, and it's really creating a problem for our community and our residences and our businesses and our schools. So that drove our members to reach out to our electric co-op asking for help. They knew they were unserved, they knew that nobody was going to serve them, so they turned to us, the electric co-op. As a co-op, our customers are our owners, so we obviously listen to what they have to say. We did a survey. It turned out it was obvious that our members were lacking the service and very much supported us doing fiber to the home. We selected fiber because it's very important that we did a universal service to 100% of our membership. We launched a pilot project that was about 100 miles, 1,145 passings. We had a certain threshold we had to meet to be able to serve that pilot, to figure out if fiber to the home would be feasible in our service territory. From that, a grassroots effort rose up. We had a threshold that had to be met. We turned it over to our members. They went door to door. We had community meetings. They put yard signs up. We even had community banks step up and pay $100 deposits for their customers to sign up for the service. Needless to say, our pilot project was very successful. Today, that pilot project has doubled the number of subscribers that we anticipated when we started. Based on that, our board of directors approved a plan to build out all 4,000 miles of our electric distribution system with fiber to the home. Today, we are about complete with phase 1, which is the first 1,000 miles, and we just launched phase 2 on Monday of this week. And an exciting announcement is we're launching rural gigabit service for all of our membership available in April of this year. Not just residences, but small businesses and schools will have access to gigabit services. Schools will have access to gigabit for less than the price of a T1. Our services include broadband, telephone, and IPTV service. And some of the things we look at for expansion, obviously, is we're trying to serve our membership first and foremost. But our members are intertwined in the communities that they live in, and as co-ops in the state of Missouri do not serve inside municipal boundaries typically. We have recently launched expansion into those communities too, to bring gigabit services to them. Our goals are service to our members and service to our community. So those are the driving factors of our expansion in our service territory. And finally, Co-Mo's not alone. We did submit an expression of interest to become a rural broadband experiment, along with 9 other Missouri electric co-ops and over 100 co-ops nationwide that are interested in serving their membership. If all the co-ops in Missouri that filled out an expression of interest were successful, that would cover over 20% of the land mass in the state of Missouri with fiber to the home services.
This panel's been asked to address what incents providers to deploy broadband to new areas, but I also think it's important to expand that question to look at what it takes to get broadband to and keep broadband in all areas. As a network investor and operator, I have to look at not just new areas that will receive broadband for the first time. I have to be thinking about how to manage my budget to upgrade and sustain rural areas that have broadband already. These are the same trade-offs that every service provider makes, and they're necessary to make sure that today's new broadband investments aren't wasted and don't become subpar in the future. When Golden West is determining where and when to invest, whether we are upgrading an existing network or we're expanding broadband into an unserved area, there are several questions we ask ourselves. First, what can we afford to build to deliver the best service to consumers now and for the foreseeable technology horizon? Second, if I build that network, will I be able to maintain it and sustain it over the life of that network? And third, will my customers be able to afford the services that I provide on that network? If you can't affirmatively answer each of these questions, affordability, sustainability, and reasonably priced services for consumers, providers like Golden West are unable to make long-term network investments. A second question that was posed to this panel is what drives the choices in technologies, and there are a lot of factors. I'll address just a few primary themes. The first is network cost. This includes not only my initial construction and deployment costs, but the cost of upgrades and maintenance and how quickly I must need to upgrade those services that customers will require tomorrow. Will future upgrades require totally new construction, electronics upgrades, or can I do it on existing facilities? The second theme is service definition. Can the network do what consumers and society expect of it? As an eligible telecommunications carrier, or ETC, as well as a carrier of last resort, I need to be able to provide voice and broadband services with quality of service and performance metrics included. While we rightly focus on broadband, the capability to provide quality voice and reliable access to things such as 911 has to be viewed as important parts of this platform as well. The third theme is sustainability. We can't focus exclusively on the one-time act of deploying a network. The network I build has a decades-long life, and an investment is wasted if the network and the services that I put over it are not sustainable. If consumers can't afford those services that I provide or can't get access to those services 5 years from now or longer that aren't comparable to what folks in other areas are getting, the network's not sustainable. Now, universal service support has been a key component in promoting sustainability and affordability for rural Americans, and it's important that this program take into account both the one-time act of deploying networks and the ongoing work of delivering reasonably comparable services to consumers at reasonably comparable rates.